Hello, this is Decoherent, and welcome back to some more Torment Tides of Numenera. So, a couple things to start out with here. There was a patch today, 1.0.2, that hit just a few minutes ago by my clock, and it had a number of different things in it. There were some crashes that apparently I've never run into, and some other game stoppers. It also mentioned that some of the encounters were rebalanced, so now I wonder if that fight that I spent so much time smashing my head against was possibly fixed, but oh well, we'll never know. Let's see. Oh, I found my Numenera. Turns out it was a cipher, so here it is. So I just wasn't paying enough attention. Well, I would say I was paying enough attention. It just sounded like an item. So I'm going to go ahead and use that, because obviously... Yeah. 2 and 6. Awesome. Alright, that was totally worth it. And I think we had upgraded everyone's armor, including Rin's.
Oh, yes?
Sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Let's see here. Rin, inventory. Yes, I upgraded everyone's. Okay. So, now to move on with our quest here, our next step is to start talking to Melmoth and see if we can convince him that we're trustworthy so that we can go take a look through that Mirrorcaster that Adiris has and won't let us play with. Melmoth, your eyes are drawn to the tattered leather robes and the profusion of tubes that wire this man. He is lighter skinned, with piercing eyes and a hideous pitted scar on his face. He could be handsome, but centuries of neglect have ravaged his looks. He looks you over and rasps, "So you're the new Castoff, eh? Come to ask me about my Dendrorahur? Or do you have some other trick you need to show off?" He waves his hand irritably. "Never mind. You have questions for Melmoth." "What?" Adiris told me to come speak with you about the tides." "You'll find none better equipped to answer the questions, certainly. The tides are an inextricable part of us," and slaps his head on one of his attachments with a tube. "Wait, she sent you to me?" He peers closely at you. "Interesting. Every time I talk about the tides, she argues with me, as if she'd spent a fraction of the time I have in studying them. She probably said that we bring pain through our existence. Let me enlighten you. Everyone brings pain to others. I have experienced so many lives and memories, and one of the common threads in all of them is pain. Do we hear it other people? We do. But how do we differ from any mortal in that regard? Show me someone without pain, and I will show you a corpse." He winks. "And then I'll eat it."
Making a note.
"We are imperfect. We leak tides, or absorb them, or both. Our powers impinge on the minds of others, upon their nervous system if you prefer. We draw strength from them. We change them in the process, and not usually for the better. That is regrettable, but unavoidable. Adiris might have said that the sorrow was hunting us because we abuse the tides, or some such nonsense. But if that's the case, we're doomed by the nature of our existence. If true, why not use the powers we have?" Okay. Let's continue on this conversation. So Adiris says that a tidal surge on my birth was responsible for a devastating argument between two humans. "It's entirely possible. The tides are a psychic force, and when we're born, our minds snap into a particular shape and force out the residue. An unprotected mind nearby might well absorb some of that energy and react in unpredictable ways. But what of it? Does this change anything in your life? Two mortals had an argument. Oh no, boo-hoo." Well, no need to be a dick. "So how do you know so much about the tides?" Melmoth sighs, exasperated, and holds up his bony hand, folding 2 fingers back as he counts. 1. I am hundreds of years old. I can devote this kind of time. 2. I am dedicated to knowledge. 3. I will do anything in its pursuit. 4. I learned to draw memories from dead people. 5. I sought the dead who could teach me about the tides." He lowers his fist. "Follow that trail of thought. You'll find me at the end. That's how I know." "And why do I do this, do you think? Let me tell you, since you clearly wanted to ask. It's because the changing man thought that the tides were important. He uses the tides to shape us. Do you want to know more about how we were created? I did, and so I researched the tides. The reason for this is that I'm not an idiot, unlike so many of our siblings." Yeah, the changing man. That's a better title. The word God is a little... ugh. "So why do you think that the sorrow pursues us?" Melmoth waves a finger at you. "I don't waste my time worrying about it. Like worrying about the death of the cosmos. It'll come sooner or later. Well, unless I have something to say about it. You want supposition? Here's a list. Because of our mad creator, vengeance, sheer blood-mindedness, maybe it loves the tides, or loathes them. Could be it hates what we're doing with the tides. But if you talk to Adiris, you'll find that she never uses her. I use mine all the time. Yet, the sorrow would destroy us both. Yeah, but you don't know that. He adjusts one of the tubes on his outfit. I worry more about the deaths of others, and how I might gain some of their knowledge. Not about the first dead vendetta, nor our creator's desire to kill us, and certainly not about an unstoppable monster from the past. Again, why do you think it's from the past? So what did you mean when you said the tides were an inextricable part of us? Do you think that you could come back from the dead because you were born lucky? Our bodies require tidal energy. Cut us off from that energy and we dissolve. It's the way we're structured, the way our sire created us. He invented a mental matrix and imposed it on the bodies he grew. I surmise that this matrix is what allows his consciousness to transfer, and what allows the tidal energy to permeate our forms. Without it, he grins and pulls his hands apart. Sploosh! Interesting, but again, you don't know that. But we have the advantage of being able to draw on this power for our own uses. He constructed each of us along different lines, and because of that, the patterns that hold us together are different. Is it any wonder that we would be able to channel this into tidal surges? So, what are these tides anyway? Where did they come from? Well, you know that they're a psychic energy field. They pervade the greater Sagas Protectorate, but the pockets of tidal activity are localized in the Ninth World. That suggests that though they're a natural force, they're also artificially induced. Civilizations have risen around their use, he frowns, and civilizations have fallen. Well, that's an interesting bit of data. That's a very interesting bit of information. So the Sagas Protectorate, but not the rest of the world? Or maybe the world, but it's primarily in the Sagas Protectorate? That's interesting. Wonder what generates it. Melmoth scratches his nose. Odd thing. I have sought to decipher the accounts of those times, but the creatures that made them are strange. The sorrow shows up in images and sounds and spectra that I can barely understand. He taps his head. That's why I sought a better method. You get the occasional disease, a strong mind that doesn't want to share its memories with you, but everyone wants to be remembered. Talk to the voices long enough, and they realize you're their only true heir. Very, very interesting. Okay, so they are artificial. If I'd read a paragraph further, I'd know that. Made by something non-human, huh? Maybe this isn't even their intended function. Alright, so tell me about yourself. His lopsided smile seems more like a grimace. I'm Melmoth. I'm the creator of the Dendra Uhur, the greatest, or at least the most innovative, of the brotherhoods that seek to pass along knowledge from one generation to the next. So many people back away from me because of the way I look, or the way I speak, but let me tell you that in this body I have lived countless lives, seen endless worlds, and experienced memories that beg description. I contain worlds, and they judge me by my appearance? Sometimes I wonder who I'm saving this knowledge for. Well, what can you tell me about the Dendra Uhur? I mean, I've met them, and got the answer from them, but it'd be interesting to hear it from you. They call us Eaters of the Dead. We take the knowledge from their fading flesh. Every life flickers and dies, and when knowledge disappears, the world grows darker. The rain of death washes away experience. I want to preserve. Each of the Dendra is a library of experience. A feral grin flickers in his mouth and vanishes. Every life that vanishes is a loss. Every person living has a story. The secret keys of history hide there. I want truth. I want exposure. I want knowledge to live. So, with all your acquired knowledge, you must have a pretty unique outlook on the endless battle.
Making a note.
A waste of time and a criminal waste of knowledge. The weapons being discharged are lost to us forever. Each life gone is an experience that will disappear into the mists of eternity, snuffed away and forgotten, never to be seen again. He leans in. Our sire sought to cheat death to stop that kind of waste. It's beyond my reasoning why he'd allow the endless battle to continue. The weapons being discharged are lost to us forever. How can everything be one shot? Well, it seemed like they were playing with causal and acausal weapons, so... Yeah. Yeah, they may write themselves right back out. So, I'm looking for Mazov. Have you seen him? Huh? That useless tinkerer? Why? Do I keep this to myself at this point? I don't think so, amongst the Castoffs. At least here. Yeah. Yeah, no, not here. They've probably already heard about it anyway, or at least Adiris probably has. I need him to fix a resonance chamber. Melmoth steeples his fingers, lost in contemplation. A resonance chamber? I remember the term. Something about the building of it. Crystal. Ah! The particulars escape me. But Mazov would be the one to fix it. He laughed softly. Too bad he's not here. Try asking Adiris. So what can you tell me about the other Castoffs here? He leers an ugly smile. They're idiots and fools. They think their shields can protect them from the sorrow forever. I came here to retrieve some research, and every time I come, I think of how much knowledge is in their minds and in their bodies, and I wish they'd just die already so I could gain access to their wasted experiences. He scratches a small infection in his hand. On the other hand, they're the closest I have to peers. Huh, what does that say about me? Interesting. All right. Well, thanks for talking to me. Don't eat anything I wouldn't eat. Okay, so some interesting stuff there. Saw her journal update a couple times. His opinion is markedly different from Adiris, which makes me wonder why she sent me to him. That's true. Okay. Well, let's go back and talk to her. So, why did you send me on a fetch quest, Have you spoken to Melmoth, then? What did he say? Well, he said that the tides are within us all, and we should use our powers as necessary. Adiris laughs. I imagine he called me a fool and worse. He's done more research into the tides than anyone else here in Mile of Est. Tell me, did he say anything else? He said that we all use the tides all the time, given that it's a fundamental, intrinsic part of our structure. She shakes her head. If we do, it's purely unconscious, for I've never used them intentionally. Yeah, but if that's why the sorrow's chasing us, it doesn't care. At any rate, I sent you to talk to Melmoth. Do you believe he has conducted his studies with anything but his own power in mind? I don't think he cares about power at all. I don't think he cares about other people either. He's just interested in the preservation of knowledge. So he says, and he's certainly gone to great lengths to do so. I don't believe in his positions, nor his conclusions, for he may well have inflated the results to justify his actions. But he refuses my mind's touch, and he rebuffs my attempts to inquire more deeply. My own personal views are, of course, irrelevant to the deeper truth that he has his own motives, and they may be purer than mine.
Making a note.
So I have another task for you. Ugh! Alright. Andronis and Marima are arguing. The recent negotiations between the Chow Student and Page broke down, and the two have taken it hard. They're likely to come to blows if they cannot be reconciled. She bows her head. If one strikes the other, the laws of Mile of Est are clear. The attacker will be evicted. I don't know if the sorrow is truly more active, but they came here choosing safety, and it is my wish they have it. Please, speak with them. Do I look like a relationship counselor? I need to get in your good graces, so I'm going to do it, but I'm not real happy. Alright. Alright. Let's see here. Oh, okay, so Adiris would like to see how I do when the people are still in control of their own lives. Alright, so the point here is, without poking around in their past, can I get people to fix their problems
Of course we can help.
by
Right on?
chatting and not forcibly repairing? Okay, so there's Chow Student. Where's the other person? Castoff. You guys couldn't even have a name? Here's Adronis. Wait, is that the right people? Andronis and Marima. Marima, where are you? Castoff, Elkshire. Oh, they're both right here. Yeah.
Just how much money do you have, lad? Out of curiosity.
Lots? Several lots. Possibly lots of lots. Lots is a number, right?
In all the ways that matter, yes.
That's funny. Oh, I noticed they fixed the sound effect for Eridus's really nifty glow, which is great because I was getting pretty tired of it. Alright, who do we talk to first? Marima. Marima. This woman bears a toothy smile, enjoying the anger in the man she's speaking with. You probably think that if you won, then the endless battle would actually end. Andronis's face is flushed and angry. The veins throb on his forehead, and his eyes are focused on his companion. Stop talking, Marima. He spits each word, gripping his weapon belt with bloodless fingers. Stop talking, or I'll prove you wrong right now. Ah, but it wouldn't do anything of the sort, Marima replies, grinning as though she intends to eat the man whole and screaming. It's a hell of a grin. Even this argument is part of his plan. Do what you have to do, Andronis. If not for the law, you'd already be dead, he says, and spits at her feet. Traitor. Fool. You child, Marima says with laughing scorn. You ingrate. Excuse me. What? They shout in unison, whirling on you. Hi. So, Adiris asks me to, mediate your dispute? They react like, exactly like, sullen children. Andronis folds his arms and turns away from you. Marima flushes and stares at her feet. Alright, she mutters at last. Tell us what you need to know. Okay, first, what exactly are you arguing about? The two watch each other warily for a moment, as if speaking first will somehow forfeit the argument. We mostly disagree, Andronis says at last, on the amount of respect due our sire. He arches a cold eyebrow at Marima, a silent question. She gives a reluctant nod. Okay, so what's troubling you, Andronis? I just don't understand her, he says, flinging his hand in Marima's direction. The changing god abandoned us at birth, then fed us lie after lie when he chose to speak to us at all. She claims he has a master plan. I see a man who serves himself first and always. He doesn't care if we die. Even I care more if Marima dies than our sire does. Andronis barks a bitter laugh. Did you know that he sparked the whole war from my body? He got the first angry at me, and then ditched this shell, leaving me to deal with the consequences. Good thing the first knows the difference between the face and the mind. He rubs his eyes. But Marima, look, I know how she feels. The sorrow is hunting all of us. It's nice to think that the changing god has a plan to protect us. It's just not, true. I know it. He glares at Marima and then back at you. Okay, that's pretty cool. I think it's a little too strong to say that it's a man who serves himself. But from what I've seen from these memories, I don't buy the master plan bit. I buy plans, big plans, but not an enormous plan from the beginning. It sounds like he may have had a couple big plans and then has been developing over several lifetimes this whole thing to keep the sorrow from eating him. Alright. Damn it, Andronis says, turning away. After a moment, you see why. There are tears in his eyes. None of us want to kill each other. You see that, right? His eyes harden. But if I have to choose between someone brave enough to stand against our father and her, I'd drop her and mourn later. Okay, so let's hear your side, Marima. It's simple, brother. The endless battle is a test, and Andronis' side has been failing it for centuries. Our creator managed to annoy the first enough that she stormed off in a huff. He even did it in Andronis' body. You'd think that this big oaf, of all people, would understand what our sire was thinking. Marima shakes her head, laughing. The fact of the matter is, our father created this sanctuary to protect us from the sorrow. But hiding isn't a strategy. Eventually, we'll have to take the battle to it. The gleam in her eyes is a banked fire. And when that time comes, our father wants an army who will follow his orders without question. He allowed the first to spread her doubts, and the traitors among us have flocked to her side. She tosses Andronis a scornful look. Nope, I don't buy that. Not even a little. Okay, I've met the sorrow. I can see that maybe a bunch of people would be useful to fight the mind squid. that's by far not the only thing. I mean, we saw that painting. That was full of unpleasant things, even worse than the mind squids. So, I don't think so. I think he's got a plan, yes. Not a plan from the beginning, and certainly not raising an army. Even so, I'm sure it hurt our father to discover that so many of his children mistrusted him, she says, lowering her eyes. Imagine how that feels, knowing you'd have to kill some of your children to save the rest. And that's it, she says with an elegant shrug. Simple, like I said. Andronis simply can't accept that this grand rebellion is all part of our father's plan. Can't accept that we owe our existence and ongoing survival to him. She sneers at Andronis. If you hate this sanctuary so much, why not leave? Okay. Well, you do owe your existence to him. Maybe ongoing. Okay. So before I make any decision, what kind of solutions would satisfy both of you? Nothing. Neither of them speak for a moment. Their faces are identical sculptures of surprise. I don't know, Andronis says, glancing at Marima. Nothing you say would make us take each other's side, and, with apologies to Adiris, I don't want to get along with Marima. I've hated her for too long. No offense. Rama's lip quirks. Honesty doesn't offend me. She looks over at you. And we need a decision. You can't please both of us. Our points of view aren't ever going to line up. Okay. Well, I agree more with Andronis than with Marima. Let's scroll back here and let's take a look at this. Okay. Okay. Abandon us at birth. Yes, that is true. Fed us lie after lie. I don't have any evidence for that. I haven't spoken with him. So I don't know about that. She claims he has a master plan. I see a man who serves himself. I don't think he's quite that selfish. I don't know why I have that impression. Certainly leaving this long string of corpses is, you know, suboptimal. On the other hand, he could just kill them off, you know, as he jumps from body to body. You know, maybe he feels a certain amount of responsibility. I buy a big plan, but not a master plan, not from the beginning. Maybe after the sorrow started chasing him. I don't know. I'm still curious, too, about the creation of the first, because he did that, if I recall correctly, in some, like, other world, some other dimension. He left for a while and then came back with the first. So I wonder if he was dabbling in some alien world and something followed him back. You know, maybe there's some kind of signature, maybe, or some kind of something that ended up infusing that mental matrix that attracts the sorrow, that's been, you know, getting copied over and over again. Maybe the sorrow is something that's a little pissy, that it played with its stuff. Okay. I really don't buy that this endless battle is a test. That's crap. I don't buy it. No, I don't believe it. Okay, I'll come back and I'll talk to you for a minute, because I'm going to think about this. I wonder if I have anyone else I can talk to. If that will give me any inspiration. Elkshai, this Slim Castoff looks to be in his late teens. He carries an odd-looking device that resembles a scorched circle, and it's not hard to draw the connection between it and the red mark of a recent injury that travels along his forehead and under his hair. The man seems confused, hesitant, as if he has so many questions that he isn't sure what to ask first. I want to ask... I'm not sure, he gives a shaky smile. I want to ask you a lot. We all do. Okay, what kind of questions do you have for me? You forced your way through our portal, he says. It kept us safe from the sorrow. Now it's open. He swallows, eyeing you reproachfully, carefully. You feel a stirring of forces around you. You were reckless, he blurts, avoiding your eyes. You've exposed us, maybe killed us. I don't want to die. He's on the verge of tears. You need to tell me how bad it is, and I need the truth, he says, raising his eyes again. Have you seen it? Have you seen the sorrow? Yes. I knew it, he says, going pale. We're running out of time. Now listen, he says, blinking hard. This is even more important. Have you abused the tides to change things? To influence people? Very little. He groans. It doesn't matter. It'll find you. Every use of our power draws it like a fire in the sky. You should leave, he says, but there's no heat in his words. Maybe it'll follow you and leave us alone. His trembling hand seeks the red wound at his hairline. So what did you mean when you said we? He blinks hard at your question, twisting the blackened circlet through his hands. Circlet is what they meant, not circle. Okay. I once fought in the endless battle. Found this in a great clay hand. Trapped in a half-shattered block of stone. I took it. He shakes his hand, as if denying the memory itself. Put it on. The circlet spins in his hands faster and faster. I saw darkness. Knew I was inside of the owner of that hand, a clay automaton, imprisoned. Knew I could control it. He shivers. I did. Broke it free from the stone. Used it in service of our sire for many years. And thought of it as my armor. He blinks hard again, like a man trying to dislodge a thought with his eyelids alone. And then, a war construct collapsed on the automaton, crushed it, and the crown burned. I remember screaming, and then 100 voices in my head, arguing with each other, shouting and fighting. Another hard blink. The automaton wasn't an armor. It was a container. A container for gods. Did you say gods? Yes. My armor wasn't a tool. It was a locked chest with a hole inside. A deep hole full of terrible gods. He shuts his mouth and says no more on the subject. Okay, I believe you. If I was going to make a box to scare something kind of scary and mental in it, I wouldn't make it a dude, and I wouldn't make it a remote control car. Okay, so Rin clearly perked up at this. And gods, well, demons are more correctly, are what apparently we've got rocking around in Eris's head. It's very possible that if I help him, that might give me maybe some insight to help out the people that I'm carting around. He smiles glumly, then blinks again. Okay, farewell. I'll speak with you in a little bit. Okay, is there anyone else named I can talk to? Or there's the Chow Student. Let's talk to him quick. I just don't want to jump to a rash conclusion if I can get some more perspective. This man is less flesh than muscle, running in corded bands from his thick neck down his broad chest, wide arms, and calloused hands. He focuses on you, his cold eyes flickering from your face and the shape of your tattoo to the width of your shoulders, like a prospective buyer sizing up a particularly dangerous animal. Then he smiles, and it is as wide and genuine as any you've ever seen. Ah, the most advanced of our sire's children, here at last. I'm surprised you didn't make your way here earlier. So you're not upset that I opened that portal? Well, he says, chuckling, there's a touch of unease in it, you notice. I argued against the portal's closure to begin with, so, well, I'm concerned that it's open again. But I trust that our sire knew what he was doing when he made you. So I have no doubt the weakening of our defenses is a smaller part of his greater strategy. Okay, so now we know which side of the argument he's on. Okay. So who are you? I'm the Chow Student, commander of the changing god's forces in the endless battle, the guardian of his grand design and his champion. He raises a self-deprecating hand. Not that our sire truly needs my help, of course. But some here, in the very land he created for us, would rather acknowledge all that he's done for us. He shakes his head slowly. Some of these disagreements can be resolved through debate. Not all, of course, but not all. So, have you seen the changing god? No, but that's not unusual, he says. His strategies absorb most of his time, which is why he leaves most of the work in the endless battle, and the diplomacy in Mile of Est, to me. As you might imagine, he measures time differently than us. He chuckles. It's been a number of years since I've seen him. I doubt our sire has noticed. You almost don't spot the unease and the hurt. So, what do you think his grand design is? Well, as you know, he moves from body to body. He does this to test the capabilities of these bodies to their fullest to ensure their strength. And when he's done so, he gives them to us, gives us life, so that we might continue using them in the service of his plans. He's like a sculptor, honing his art. He raises a finger. So you see, he's not flitting from body to body like some matter of vapid insect. Each cast-off is an improvement over the last. He lays a hand on your shoulder. And that means, of course, that you are the best of us, and the most suited to help us end this conflict. Okay. The sorrow will find us, he says. Before that happens, we must end our conflict with each other. We must prepare our defenses. We must find some way to stop it. Okay. So what's your perspective on the point of the endless battle? In gratitude, he says, with a deep, calming breath. Our sire gave us long lives and powerful gifts, a home to protect us from the sorrow. He barks a laugh. The first cast-off wasn't content. She spread lies about our sire and turned some of his children against him. He presses his lips together. She's dead now, but the damage is long done. Our family is divided. The First Army would have us destroy the changing god and seek freedom from his plans for us, he growls under his breath. They're stubborn children, refusing the medicine that will save their lives because the taste isn't sweet enough to their liking. Yeah, but that's not going to keep the sorrow. Pardon me. It's not going to keep the sorrow from eating you all. So I'm looking for a cast-off named Mazov who can repair the resonance chamber in Saga's Cliffs. I'm told that will stop the sorrow. Oh, of course, he says, his eyes gleam. A sire told me of the plans to build that. I should have known. He lays bracing hands on your shoulder. Speak to Adiris if you haven't already. She'll know where to find this Mazov. All right. Well, that wasn't as helpful as it might have been. So, okay, so he is seeing this whole thing as, creating an army the hard way, I guess, one at a time. It's interesting. I don't know if I buy it. Oh, I didn't see this. Strange burbling noise emanates from deep within this device. He looks over the valley like a guardian. Huh. I love these little spheres, by the way. Okay. Well, I'm going to need to think about what I'm going to do with Andronis and Marima here. So this seems like a good place to take a break. If you've been watching this series and enjoy it, please feel free to subscribe. I rather enjoy that little number at the bottom. Either way, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.